This is just a small piece of my record collection that's worth thousands of dollars. And for years, this collection has been sitting, collecting dust, taking up space, traveled across the country multiple times, and I rarely even play the records. Well, today I made a decision to finally sell the record collection. And I figured there was a powerful business lesson in this called the sunk cost fallacy. For many years in my adolescent life, probably from the time I was about 15, 16, I started collecting records, and I was an active DJ probably all the way up into my early 30s, around the time I had kids. At the end of every gig when I was coming up, I would take whatever small portion of money I made and I would run straight to the record store and I would buy more records, I'd buy more gear, needles, headphones, speakers, lights, you name it, whatever I can do. I was always reinvesting in the business, but let's be honest, it was a passion and a complete hobby, and I just spent countless hours combing through records, hunting, digging through crates, finding the goods, because in those days there was no digital, so all we really had was the vinyl. I'd take these records, I'd rush home, I'd turn them into mixtapes, I'd sell those mixtapes on college campus for $5-10. I'd take that money, buy pizza, do another DJ gig, and kind of round and round we get. I DJed countless parties and events and weddings and you name it, clubs. I was deep in the club scene for a long time, but that was then. And now I don't do any of that. And every now and then I'll go and pick up a record or two and just play it on the turntable just for the memories and the vibe. But really, I largely listen to music on my digital streaming platforms. So what am I doing with all these records? In business, we call this the sunk cost fallacy. It's when you keep investing something into your former investment, whether it's time, energy, capital, emotional resources, you just keep investing into something because you've already been investing to it. And you think, well, I've already put all this time, effort, and energy into this, I might as well just keep going. And we do this all the time with failing projects, outdated equipment, relationships, bad business ideas, bad business decisions, you name it. It's hard to separate ourselves from the previous investment that we had already made. The problem is that investments made in the past are gone. They're in the past. And the only thing that really matters is the future value of whatever we're doing. Whatever the thing that we have, the asset, is going to grow. Some assets are pretty much peaked. They've done what they're going to do and they're now trending downward, but we think that we can revive them and resuscitate them. In some cases you can, but it's the emotions that we have tied to the idea that we can bring it back that keeps us stuck. I've seen plenty of business owners selling something that was technologically obsolete and they no longer had much of a market and they're only selling to the laggards, but they've been selling for so long this way. Meanwhile, their competitors came in with new technology, new ways of selling, new products and services, and they just take over all the market share. Meanwhile, this person could have seen it, call them Blockbuster. They could have seen Netflix come around, but they were just so stuck to the old ways of doing things. The sunken cost of having their retail stores like Tower Records, they just couldn't wrap their head around something new. Therefore, when an iTunes comes around, they just completely decimate the market and take over. So when you look at your business, you have to ask yourself, where are the sunk costs inside of my organization? Now, these records once had a purpose. Now they just take up physical space. They take up my attention. When I move, I have to box them up and pack them and bring them with me wherever I'm going. And I don't even get the value out of them because I'm not even listening to them. And I figure if someone else can get more value and the cash in my pocket would be more valuable than the dust that these are collecting off in the corner. And this happens in business all the time. The piece of tech that you've invested into but don't really fully use, or that product that you launched but didn't really fully get it off the shelves, or that employee that you hired but they never really got wind beneath their wings. We look at these things and they're kind of half investments, but they're really sucking our time, attention, energy, money, emotions into that former investment. The cost was already made. In many cases, the best thing for us to do is just separate and move on. So the lesson here is don't let sunk costs dictate your future. Whether it's a record or a side hustle or some multi-million-dollar venture or some product or some employee or a relationship, whatever it is, if you know that it's a sunk cost and you know it's slowing you down and you know that the investment of the past isn't going to dictate the future value, then it's time to move on. Look, I get it. Some things you have an emotional attachment to. I can most likely buy this record anytime. I don't need it. And if in some future time I still want this record, I will just go buy the record and then enjoy it at that time. This is not so limited that it's going to continue to increase in value and it's some investment, some asset that I need to hold on to. I need to emotionally and mentally separate. So you have to ask yourself, what do I have inside of my business? What's slowing me down and pulling me back that I really need to hold on to it? that you can't just go recreate it in the future. And some things you can't, so you got to get clear on what those things are. So yeah, the record collection is one chapter of my life that's closing, and I feel surprisingly good about it. Of course, I'm keeping a small batch of records, the ones that do have real asset value, the ones I will continue to get enjoyment out of. But that's not my sunk cost fallacy. I know the future value that those things will continue to produce for me. Meanwhile, I'll have a stack of records here that I just, quite frankly, don't think I'm gonna get any future value from. So what's something that you've been holding on to? What's something that's weighing you down? Let me know in the comments. I read every one. And if you think I'm crazy for selling this De La Soul record, you let me know. And if you want more lessons like this, please like, comment, subscribe, follow along, leave it in the comments. Again, I read every comment. With that being said, I've got about 10 crates of records to comb through and start selling. We'll see you on the next one.